What's up, guys? Emily Gagnon here. Tuesday, July 9th. It's my sister's birthday in 2 days. Mine is exactly a month away. We are not here to talk about that. However, let's get started with the Stripers tonight. The Gwinnett Stripers. They are taking on Jacksonville. They are the AAA affiliate of the Braves. And we headed out there today to hear from the team ahead of their matchup. They're playing from Coolray Field in Lawrenceville. That's where they play. And the weather will hopefully cooperate at some point. It's been raining for a couple of hours now. But let's hear from the manager ahead of tonight's game.
When you guys were in Minnesota, historic night, 21 runs. Have you ever experienced anything like that, and what did you take away from that?
I never did. I mean, it was interesting. It's hard on me, as a manager, because you kind of don't want to, make the other team a little mad or make them look worse, sending runners home, and it's a blowout. So to me, it was a hard game to manage because I just, there's some rules you don't want to break. But it was fun watching the guys, and just, it was a walloping. It was pretty impressive.
You could choose a lot of people who stood out in that series, but who really shined in your opinion?
I mean, Eli White. 6 hits, 6 for 7, 2 homers, 6 RBIs. He was hitting the ball hard everywhere. I mean, hit a homer to left field, hit one to right, and it's hard to hit. I mean, off a position player, and he hit I think it was a grand slam to right field, and he had an impressive. It was fun to watch him that day.
And what does it mean as a manager then you see him get the call up and go to the Braves?
It was very exciting. I've been waiting to tell him, all year that he's going up, and when he came in the office, just a bunch of smiles. Usually it's a bad thing when you come in the office, and I just told him don't worry, it's a good thing, and calling him up, it was great.
Talk to me about what you've seen from Drake this season. I mean, really, since getting the call up, he's really just progressed.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his thing. I mean, he's fitting right in, showing everybody he can play at the high level, and he continued to do what he did last year. I had him for a little bit last year, and he ended here, I think, for, the last week. And since he's been here, he's been hitting the ball hard. He's been catching. He's been throwing some guys out. And just the person he is, he fits right in. He's just mellow-headed, doesn't get big-headed. And he knows this is where he wants to be and what he wants to do for his rest of his life. So he works his tail off and shows up every day.
Where have you seen his game shift the most from last season that kind of has helped propel him to this futures game here in a few weeks?
Yeah, I think, the power is coming out a lot more this year. He's hitting home runs to left field, right field. He's actually, arms getting a little bit stronger, throwing some guys out. And I think this is the way he's getting better. It's just impressive. He got better so fast this year. And I think he started a little slow, and all of a sudden, things click. And that's what happens in this game. When it clicks and you stay hot for a long time, good things happen.
What have you seen from Nacho? He's someone who's been hitting pretty well as well.
Yeah, Nacho is the same way as Drake. They both come out here and play. They know the job that's got to be done, and they try to exceed it and be better than what needs to be done. And, Nacho's a young kid, but you wouldn't know the way he plays. He plays like he's been here for a long time. His work ethic is unbelievable. He has fun, which is the main thing. He doesn't put pressure on himself. I think, younger kids that you see sometimes don't succeed as quick as he has. They put too much pressure on themselves and they dig themselves a hole. He just has fun and fit right in too, and it's fun to watch him play.
You're talking about the mental aspect of that game. How much of what you guys on staff do is just getting that mental preparation and making sure the guys are perfect in that aspect of their game so that they can just go out there and perform, especially if they get the call?
Yeah, I mean, we all been there. We know how hard this game is. We just got to keep reminding them that this is probably one of the hardest games in America. You've got to hit a round ball with a round bat. And you're either going to be a hero or a zero in one day, and you play 162 games. So you could be a hero for 100 and a zero for 62, but, it doesn't matter. Just come out and play, have fun. It's a game of failure. You hit 3 out of 10, you're in 300, you're in the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of things, just keeping him happy, letting him know he's really good. And he does a good job himself, keeping himself happy, so that always works.
What was it like to get Eddie Rosario back in the mix for a few days before joining the Braves?
Yeah, it was a quick one. I was teammates actually with Eddie. We played together in winter ball, but it was fun to have him back. He had a bright attitude. He was smiling. he was ready to go back to the big leagues after 3 days in the minor leagues. So, I'm pretty sure he was happy he got the call back up.
Yeah, easy transition for him. You can't come down here to Gwinnett and talk about the Stripers without talking about the pitching. What do you see from this pitching unit and just the depth that you're able to give the Braves?
Yeah, I'm pretty grateful I got, some good arms. Not only in this, our starters I think they're all in the 40-man except for one. I can't ask for more than that. And then, the bullpen, we got a tight-knit group down there. I mean, I got Ken Giles, and you got Daisabel Hernandez, who comes in and just starts throwing everything he's got at you. Good luck with that at bat. And we got those two young kids that came up from Double-A, Domingo Gonzalez and Hayden Harris, who have had outstanding, seasons so far. And they came up here, hit a little bump in the road, but it's going to happen. And, they put their big boy shoes back on the other day and came back out and put up a zero. So, it's good to see that happen. I'm grateful enough to be a pitcher, manage, and understand that, I got some pretty good arms out there.
And what is the secret sauce here of just keeping all those guys locked in and just being able to fill the gaps when needed?
I think the secret sauce is just them. They keep themselves available. They, get their sleep, get up, produce, and do it all over again. I think, like you said, the mental side of it, I think all these kids have it. They all want the fight to get back. Once you lose the fight, and again, you start working backwards, and that's when bad things start happening. So I think, these kids are still, hoping they still got the hope to keep going back up and stay up, and they got to produce down here to get up. So that's kind of, that's the secret sauce. You got to produce to go up. So I think that's what they need to do.
How do you evaluate a guy like AJ? All the fans eager to see him get back in the rotation, had a rehab assignment in Rome. Just what do you see from a guy like that?
AJ's a young kid, and he's got, elite stuff. Seeing him go down was a bummer, but, now he's back, and hopefully he can continue to be elite and, be a household name in the big leagues and stay there for a long time.
All right, guys. Looks like our sound came to an end there. Technical difficulties, but that's okay. The Stripers, once again, playing Jacksonville tonight. And let's hope that the rain can hold off and that game can go on as planned. That was the head coach of the Stripers. 7:05 first pitch, taking on Jacksonville. Right now, the Stripers are tied for 15th in the league, and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp are tied for 6th. So we will know more about tonight's game a little bit later if it goes on time, which is about 25 minutes from now, or if they have to just back it up a little bit. But tonight on the bump, you've got Alan Winans and Max Meyer. Winans, who plays for Gwinnett, is 4-3 this season with a 3.01 ERA, while Max Meyer is 0-3, has yet to win a start with a 5.36 ERA. Again, 7:05 first pitch from Lawrenceville. Moving on to Atlanta United, guys. Atlanta United also playing tonight. That game could be in a weather delay as well. The weather just not really cooperating as of right now. But they are playing Indy. That game gets started at 7 on Apple TV. It's the Indy 11 that they're playing, and that's the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal. So they're not in MLS play tonight. We know that they've been struggling. However, they do get to play in the U.S. Open Cup tonight. That one, thankfully, you can actually see for free on Apple TV tonight's game. So that's one thing. But again, a weather delay could be very possible simply because of the weather. So that's what we'll be talking about most of the night because of the weather as of right now. But I do expect it will go on at some point tonight. We did hear from interim head coach Rob Valentino yesterday ahead of this match. Let's hear what he has to say about tonight's matchup against the Indy 11 for the U.S. Open Cup, again in the quarterfinals. So they would be 3 wins away from winning it. If they can pull a win off tonight, they would obviously move on. If not, elimination is what they would face.
Your own approach to personnel and things.
I mean, I approach every game as they come. Like I've said before, we take every game in its own self. I've been in the position that these teams have been in as a player, so I know how much it means to be in that position to try to knock off an MLS opponent. And every game we come up against, we want to win. So the players that are available and will play in this game are players that I believe can win this game and advance us in the Open Cup, because I think ultimately you're playing for a trophy, and for me it's always really important. It's an opportunity to show for yourself and show for the club.
I'm only going to ask you about one player, Caleb. Will Caleb play tomorrow night?
He'll be, I would imagine, we're looking at all players, so he's on the list of players that I'm hoping that are available and ready to go. I mean, he's played a lot of minutes over the last couple of games. He would hopefully be somebody that we can see feature.
What is your U.S. Open Cup experience you were talking about just now?
Yeah, I mean, I played in Orlando City in USL, and we played, I'm trying to think of I'll miss some of the teams, but we played against Chicago Fire away. We played against Sporting Kansas City twice maybe. Mm-hmm. I remember beating Sporting Kansas City there, and it was amazing. Maybe they don't, like Peter probably doesn't remember that game. He's coached so many, but it's like that was such a pivotal moment for us, like as players, and it's something I remembered because I wanted, as a player, I wanted to get back to that level. I wanted to be where those guys were at, and just showing, like, proving myself, like, hey, we beat you guys. Like, I deserve an opportunity to get there. So I had a little bit of that chip on my shoulder. So moments like that, playing in their stadium was awesome. Chicago, I played. I scored a goal, but we ended up getting beat pretty bad in that game. But like moments like that, I still remember it. So it's something that, like, I'm sure these guys will have a chip on their shoulder. Where Mario Williams used to play here, people wanting to prove that he should still be here. Guys that have been in MLS and again just trying to prove themselves, and that's on us as a group to make sure that we stand up and we know, hey, no, like, we're not gonna be half tilt, or we're not gonna disrespect the opponent in any way. We're gonna come to win the game.
You didn't have a lot of time today to work on the set piece defense. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious how those conversations went. How do you fix it when you don't have a lot of time to train? No,
it's great. We went straight to it. We looked at the video, so that was the first thing we showed this morning. We went straight to it, and we looked each other in the face about, like, I look at this environment. It's a learning environment of how. Why we touched on this at the very beginning. It was like making new mistakes. Making no mistakes would be great. It's not. As we're humans, we make mistakes, and so now we made 3 in one game, and now it's about eliminating that. So we've held each other accountable about whether it's a role or responsibility, or whether it's more of a approach of how we shift the line or how we defend a certain set piece or a certain player. So we went straight to it. We didn't hide from it. And now we just move on to get better. So, yeah, if you can't do it on the field, the best way to do it is in the video and having conversation about it.
On the other side of that equation, on the offensive set pieces, I don't think the team has scored from a corner this year. I think there's been 1 set piece goal all season. Is there anything you can identify to do better, or is it pure luck based? No,
nothing's luck. You create your own luck. I think that there's, like, we've looked at, being intentional about getting better at deliveries. I think that's a big portion of it. So we've done a lot of extra work in the short period that we've had, even on days where we might be a short session. We've taken guys that take set pieces to get better at the delivery part, because if you're not working on it, like, how are you actually going to get better at it? It's somewhat of an art. Like, when you're putting deliveries in the box, people might think it's really easy to always hit the same zone. It's clearly not. I think but you have to be intentional about the work you go into. So there's that part. I think different creative ways of where we can have either whether it's a block or a run, creating that space. And then I think like ultimately it's about a desire and aggression to score or not score, not get scored on. So I think that's a piece that is not as easily trained. It's just a consistent message and drip feeding it in of like, this is how we're going to approach it. This is the mentality of it. And hopefully there will be a change. Like that's what we're pushing at. And we're being intentional that we can about all the training hours that we have or the video sessions or conversations. So that's the way we're trying to approach it.
What specifically are you looking for with deliveries?
Every opponent's a little bit different in terms of where.
Yeah.
So it's whether it's an out swinging ball or an in swinging ball, I don't not because I'm hiding it. I just can't give you the specifics of exactly where. Like say Salt Lake, we really wanted to attack like the near post, but we had to create that space. So we asked there to be a player that was in a different position so that we could drag that space to open up. So not to give too much away for other people to watch, but just that. There's an area like that we might want to exploit. So now they know, okay, when we do the intentional deliveries, hey, these are the areas you're looking at. This is how we're going to create that space that you can move into. So things like that.
Is there anyone coach that's in charge of set piece design at this point?
All of us right now. Yeah, we all take that responsibility. We make sure that when we go out, like, yeah, maybe one person delivers it, but at the same time, like, it's all our responsibility. And ultimately, for me, it's my responsibility to make sure that everybody knows their role.
Under Consala, who was in charge of that?
It was shared, like, but there was two coaches that were in charge of it. Yeah.
How are Open Cup games different in terms of the feel than a regular season match?
Good question. Yeah, I mean, there's like that winner go home type feeling. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. It's hard to explain because in the league games, like you somewhat know there's another one coming. This one you don't know, and there's a lot that's going on around. So I think that's another reason why I always ask these guys to be present and stay in the moment of where they're at and where their feet are. So the game that we're approaching now, like it will have a different feel to it, sure, because there's the mentality piece of, hey, if you win, you move on and you advance to hopefully get yourself one step closer to a trophy. So there's a closer outcome achievable that you can look at.
Are there things that become like more important in these kind of games? Is the start different? Are there things that you try to message differently?
The one thing that is different is that if you tie the game, then you go into extra time. So there's that. But I would say like that's something that would probably be in the back of everybody's head. But it's like in terms of how you approach the game, you approach it to outcomes always the same. We always want to win. So the approach never changes from that standpoint. And then the tactics or the roster or the game plan can change from there. But it is another game, so you have to approach it in that way as well.
Matt Edwards has started and played a big role in the last two Open Cup matches. Will more than likely have a huge impact tomorrow. What does he bring to the game for you guys and going to be on the pitch tomorrow?
Yeah, he's somebody that, looking at him over the last, I've known him for a while now, but when you watch him in this environment, like he's somebody that's really grateful for the opportunity. At least that's how I see it in my eyes. And every chance he's got, he's earned it, and I think he's done a really good job. I think that Matt has got a lot of good leadership qualities in himself, and he's still young, so he's still got that youthfulness to him that he's taking the experience that he gets in each game. And if he plays a part in tomorrow, then I'm sure we'll see more of that. But it's been fun to watch and see him take those opportunities and do really well with them.
I talked to Matt as well, and he touched a little bit on his relationship with Jay Fortune and how Jay has really stepped up into this leader, especially for him, a lot of the other players who do get called up. What is it like to see Jay really grow into this leader, not only for just the academy, but also for the team as a whole?
Yeah, Jay's awesome. I really like Jay. It's funny, he's young in age, but he's got like this old man wisdom somewhat behind him. Not wisdom maybe, but sarcasm. So he's got a great personality, and for the younger guys, he is somebody that they can kind of lean on. I think sometimes when he's serious. When he's joking, he's really jovial, and everyone loves being around him. And I know for Matt, they grew up together, so it's somebody that he probably relies on a lot. He's had a little more experience in this environment, so he can have those back and forths about what this environment is like. But I also think that in the other way, Matt balances them out, because Matt's at times can be more of that serious leader in the way he approaches things. So they have this good balance. But yeah, he's a good character, and he's been a different type of leader in his own right.
How important do you think it is for those guys to see what Caleb has accomplished and getting this Olympic call-up?
I mean, I'm sure they're super happy for him. I think it's all of it's awesome because you've got, let's try to think of all the young ones that there are. There's Caleb, there's Noah, there's Luke, there's Johnny, there's Matt, Ephra. I'm gonna miss somebody and they're gonna kill me for it. But those guys are all around each other. Like, man, how cool is that? And now, like, one of their better friends is going to the Olympics. Like, that's really cool. So I think that, you know, they all push each other in different ways. Oh, Wolfie's in that category too, because I watch them in the hotel rooms and when they're all hanging out in the meal rooms and things like that, and they're messing with each other. I'm just thinking, like, man, this was me when I was a kid, like on the trip, like with my buddies. But now they're doing this at a whole different level. So I think they bring back the youthfulness in the game to me, but they've got like this different chip on their shoulder and how they approach things. But I'm sure it's for them. I'm sure it's really cool. I'm talking for them, but like, I think it's got to be really cool to see their friend go and accomplish something, and I imagine it'll push them, because whether they can't go to this Olympics, but maybe it's pushed them for something greater in their career.
Rob, you've been around.
Caleb mentioned that you and Matt Lowry are a big reason why he's developed the way he has. What is it like for you personally to see his development and now him going to the Olympics as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super proud of him. I think that it's nice of him to say that, but ultimately, like, we're just here to help guide them in a certain direction, and because we've got maybe more years of experience, more years of life, and so we try to pass on things. There's no one person that plays a part in that kid's development. Like, he's got a great family. He's had great coaches, and Matt's been somebody that's helped mold him into some of the player he is. But he's had to take the information on and apply it, because you can give players information and you can help them in that way when they're young. But ultimately, he's had to go and apply himself, and he's done that. So it's a big credit to him of what he's done out there, because he's applied it and done even better than probably most would expect.
To follow up on that, I'm sure you've coached guys that have played in the Olympics and come back. What does that do for them personally, as well as what they can add when they come back from the team? I mean, how much does that benefit their play?
I don't know if I actually have coached anybody that's gone to the Olympics, maybe. I'm trying to think. But regardless,
Yeah.
The point is, like, when they go with the national team, it's a different level, and they're around guys that are at the top of the game in their country. So I think it always raises their level, and then it comes back, it brings them a different experience. Anytime these guys have gone to international camps, they always come back with something a little bit different, whether it's re-energized or whether they've been around top level guys. The guys are at the Euros, guys at Copa America. So I think that they come back with a different level of, whether it's sharpness or a different mentality of how things were kind of approached in a serious tournament like that. So I think it can always be used as a great thing.
You used the word chip on your shoulder a couple times. Have you seen a difference in attitude or mentality in your players in the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, slightly. I think that in Salt Lake there was still a little bit of that. In New England there was a little bit more of that. I think that there's a never give up mentality, and that was something that it's carried with me in my whole life. Like I have that mentality of, I might not be the best, but I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to not give up on things. So I hope that every day we can get closer towards that. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're making strides that we can be a team that way. Because if we have that, no matter who comes in or out of our group, when they plug in, they've got that mentality and they can add their qualities and challenge our environment. I think we'll be better for it.
Would you say they've kind of learned that mentality from you? It's something that's always been in them.
I think it's something that's been in them. I think they've got that, but it's how you can tap. We can all tap that out of them. Like, what can I say to them, or what can we trigger that pulls a little bit more out of them?
Yeah, I'll go back to the Orango goal for Salt Lake. Watching it again.
Come on, I thought we were moving forward, man.
No, this is a rules.
You already asked your set piece question.
It's a rules tactic.
You already
question.
asked it.
Well,
Come on, ask again.
I'm very wise.
Come on.
Lennon got picked on that play by another Salt Lake player. Number one, is that technically legal? And number two, if it is, how do you coach that? How do you coach to defend that when a player is getting picked on a set piece?
Yeah, I don't think he got picked. Whether it was maybe he was grabbing each other and trying to deal with both. Whatever happened was legal. There was no goal called back, so it was legal. But we got to be better as a group to shift the line and deal with that. Like, he couldn't be open in those moments. So that's really that. If he needs to get somebody off him, you got to shake their arms or whatever. Put a little karate chop or something like that in there and push to the back post. But as a group, we need to handle the whole situation better.
All right, Rob Valentino, interim manager for Atlanta United, talking ahead of tonight's match against Indy 11, getting started in about 5 minutes. Really quickly, let's move on to the Falcons. Training camp gets started in 3 weeks, so it's very close to getting started. One of their rookies, Casey Washington, we heard from him right before they broke for a few weeks of rest, but let's hear his thoughts before the season starts. A dream come true for him, obviously, in his first season in the NFL and with the Falcons.
Yeah, I just want to be the best version of myself. If you look at it big picture, you could get caught up in pressure, putting pressure on yourself, unneeded pressure. But just taking it one day at a time and just being the best Casey as possible.
What are you most looking forward about joining this wide receiver group and Ike as your coach? I mean, he's someone who, his history kind of speaks for itself, but what are you most looking forward about working with him?
Just to learn, being around competitors like the ones in our room, just it's special. And the opportunity that I have right now to grow and just absorb and be a sponge from these guys, like I said, just take it one day at a time, and I'm going to enjoy it.
You and John kind of have that, I guess, the camaraderie from last year, but now, here with the lefty spin, what is that kind of like?
Yeah,
Mike?
it's definitely different, but as a receiver, it's just see ball, get ball. So when that ball is in the air, I just got to attack it and make the play.
What's he been like, kind of trying to learn more about him, Mike?
He's awesome. Yesterday, we actually, in the group chat, he hit us up for a walkthrough, and we just went over the plays. I think, him early on getting us out there as a group and, showing himself as a leader is special. And obviously, who he is as a football player is also there. But, just to get out here and compete with each other, it's pretty special.
You mentioned watching him kind of last year at times and, the reputation that he earned for himself. What kind of image in your head maybe was there, like, when you met him here?
There's a lot of stars, like I just said, Kirk Cousins, seeing him in the locker room and, in this football space, I guess, going along the journey of going to the All-Star games and getting around, guys that, have this kind of platform. At first, you could be like, wow, like it is. They're awesome. But, they're just normal people. They're super humble guys, and they work hard, and they're just my teammates now. So I'm excited.
Big Greg, we didn't get a spot of Big Ten down here this year. Where'd they move you around at? Where'd you play most at for Illini? And where do you think you might fit in here in the NFL?
I played a lot of exit Illinois, but as much as I can learn in the playbook and take in, I'm willing to play everything. I know I want to play everything. So just getting in the playbook is big for me right now and learning as much as possible. Yeah, if you look at the iPad, they gave us an iPad with the playbook. You could get, kind of blown away from, how much is in there. But like I said, and kind of my whole approach is just one step at a time. So getting the practice script today, taking that in, and just, getting with guys and going over the script and getting as many mental reps as possible, just so that it could be as easy as possible when I get the physical side. So, like I said, just getting as much mental reps as possible and just taking it one day at a time.
The last year, a mid-round pick did pretty good in this offense. Is that in the back of your mind?
Puka Nacua?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know who that is. Yeah.
So you know where I was heading.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see the success that he's had, and knowing that it's in this office. This offense is super exciting for me. But if you get caught up in comparing yourself, you could lose sight of really what matters. So for me, it's just taking it one day at a time, learning this playbook, and just competing and getting out there and being the best me.
And just like that, we are out of time. Thank you so much for watching tonight's Sports Tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good one, guys.